Yo, good morning, everybody. Merry Christmas. We're going to talk about what it do. Let me just finish some posts and we'll get right to it. All right. Man, it's good to have you guys in. Radiel Gaia, man. Love the work ethic, bro. Stephen Gage, Crypto Now, Arctic Fox, Smashy. Good to have you guys in. Hope you're having a good holiday season. Got a good amount of viewers in here. Bitcoin definitely been a little bit pinched, but awaiting a major breakout, and altcoins kind of jumping the gun a bit. So we're going to go over it. Bears lamenting over Bitcoin December not going as low as people thought. But let's see. Let's see if we're out of the woods yet. Got to look at those VWAPs. Shout out to Market Cipher, by the way. 60% off the indicators that we use on this channel, guys. If you use code HOHOHO here at marketcipher.com, 60% off the most popular, best, successful indicator package in crypto. And we've been doing 60% off since Thanksgiving. But this is ending on New Year's, so this era of being spoiled with 60% off Market Cipher is about to come to an end, so make sure you get it now. As for my LeapFrog indicator, this is the indicator I coded. I was shocked at how many sales I got of the LeapFrog indicator. I love that you guys respect my hustle, man. I really appreciate it. But I coded an indicator here that auto-generates monthly and quarterly anchored VWAPs. It speeds up our analysis greatly. So it doesn't have a website yet, but it comes with all these customizable VWAPs. Shoot an email to me, the email in my YouTube description, nickcipherfg@gmail.com, if you want to get this guy for 60% off as well. So looking at Bitcoin here, look at us on the daily here. The daily candle's schlonging right now. Looking like the yellow oscillator creeping to the upside. Could this be a little bit of a trigger wave, a sleeping trigger wave here? You know, I personally don't think Bitcoin is completely out of the woods yet. Mainly because I'm looking at two major VWAPs. You see this thin green line down here? This is the anchored VWAP from election day. So this is the Trump VWAP. I believe this is why the November VWAP has not been tested, the teal line there, because that Trump VWAP is giving us that strength. The market simply changed after November 4th. And so Bitcoin is going to be pretty much bullish until this Trump VWAP gets taken. Now, if we lose the Trump VWAP, let's see, the Trump VWAP is down here at 91,740. If we lose that, we likely also lose the November VWAP. So this 90 to 92K area, very important support for us to hold if you believe that Bitcoin is bullish since the Trump victory. Mr. Watermelon in the chat says, what's the date on the green VWAP here? This is November 4th. This is our election day Trump VWAP. So we're measuring from a volume weighted average price perspective how Bitcoin has been performing ever since that day. And you can see that very bullish over that Trump VWAP here, the TWAP. Now, recently a challenger came into the picture. What happened on December 18th, guys? This was the FOMC decision, and we're seeing what can happen to a market after one of these Fed days. Obviously, Bitcoin got a little bit scared, started trading down, and every time it hit this Fed line here, we dumped lower. So this was a very important VWAP to keep an eye on in the past week. How is Bitcoin digesting that Fed decision? And so overall, this paints a picture. There's a lot of analysts drawing all these boxes and all this shit, but I believe they're overcomplicating things. I believe that Bitcoin is simply ranging between the Trump VWAP and the Fed VWAP. So I did a Twitter poll because what you guys think is really important to me. And I take the sentiment read to heart, very much so. But I did a poll. I said, which VWAP will be victorious? The Trump VWAP or the Drone Pal VWAP? I call him Drone Pal. Look, this is Drone Pal right here. But almost 80% of you guys said that the Trump VWAP was going to be victorious. Now, you guys know me, I'm a little bit of a contrarian, so when I see a number like this, I get a little bit concerned. And so I've been kind of sitting in my hands. Actually, if I can show you guys, I actually put out a short here in my VIP here. You see, I put out a little short idea, you know, just a modest November VWAP test with a stop loss safely above that December VWAP there. So this was our play. We got in at like around 67 or 9,700 or 97K, I should say. But hopefully you guys took some profits because Bitcoin is kind of pumping up. So this short did play out for a good ways here when we look at Bitcoin. You know, we got in up here at like, it was a 96.8. And Bitcoin did have to come down an extra 4 or 5%. And the reason why I was saying short is because look at that established, strong 5-day downtrend on Bitcoin. That black 5-day SMA, that is a very powerful downtrend. So, in my opinion, Bitcoin's not out of the woods yet. We actually need to pierce and slay this Drone Pal Fed VWAP here. We need to get over 98K. Otherwise, I'm considering us still ranging between the 90Ks here. Another thing is, it's going to take a little bit of time for Bitcoin to scoop this 5-day downtrend into an uptrend. So expect a little bit of resistance. Even if there's like a pop-up, you know, it's going to like do something like this as it slowly scoops to the upside. That's just my take. So you're just imagining that 5-day trend kind of scooping up a bit. Coming out here Christmas Eve, making sure my traders aren't FOMOing into anything stupid. Bitcoin does have a lot of resistance here in the short term to get over, as well as a strong 5-day downtrend. And so, given that Bitcoin is a little bit, it has a little bit of work to do, we want to look at the altcoins. And just as one final note on Bitcoin, it is looking nice. It is looking like it does want to try and break out of this. It just hasn't yet. So look for that sign of Bitcoin busting out over that Fed VWAP and also the December VWAP, this white December VWAP. If Bitcoin can close over around 99K, you might be able to set up a long trade like this. It depends on how the price action is looking, but we want to be able to get a trade where you can set your stop loss under the December VWAP and long this puppy back up to the all-time highs. That would be freaking sick. But I'm a realist. I'm recognizing that, you know, not only is the December VWAP in a slight sideways to down trend here, but your 5-day trend is still strong to the downside. It's just not quite the best environment for Bitcoin longs yet, but it will probably be soon, since that 5-day trend kind of lags a bit. Now let's look at BTC dominance here. BTC dominance, interesting chart. People mentioning the lower high here, the first like lower high in a long time. You know, the thing is though, is that BTC dominance has December VWAP support. So I'm in a minority of people who believe that Bitcoin may not be done yet. You see, Bitcoin still has year-to-date VWAP support here on this Bitcoin dominance. This is a tight little trigger wave to the downside for sure, for sure. And we are seeing some alts really moving. Not all of them, just to select altcoins, but now if we lost the year-to-date, if we lost 56.22%, and we're going lower, that'd be awesome for alts. But as of right now, expect a little bit of a fight here, and for things to kind of go every which way. But you know, look at this 4-hour green dot here. We're getting like at least some sort of little pop, potentially testing the declining 5-day simple and the quarterly VWAP and the previous month's VWAP. Coming up here, at least testing that as resistance. So a little bit of a move there, perhaps. Now looking at Solana. Solana came a very long ways from its monthly anchor. Look at the dump here on Solana. Dumping 23%. Right now getting snagged on some quarterly resistance. This is your October 1st anchored VWAP here. Might have to continue forming a small bottoming pattern around this quarterly VWAP as that 5-day trend slowly scoops to the upside. But I would say expect Sol to eventually like come up and tap these like the December VWAP and the previous month's teal VWAP. That's that November VWAP there. I think Sol could pump up another 9% or so. Even if it's bearish, even if it's to bearishly retest up here. You see the Trump VWAP. You guys notice how the Trump VWAP, this thin green line here, we lost it and we never really got a like succinct bearish retest of that. So maybe a retest of the Trump VWAP is necessary here on Sol. Looking at Ethereum, this is a very interesting chart here. Ethereum getting a solid year-to-date bounce here back on December 20th. Finding some support over the quarterly support. Now reclaiming November's anchor. So Ethereum just methodically, slowly building a case, digging itself out of the hole. I like this. I like this. I do love how we seem to be about to reclaim the Fed VWAP. You see the VWAP from December 18th there. So there's probably a long trade right now on ETH. Actually, just put a stop loss underneath. You know, yesterday's daily VWAP. You see that little green VWAP there? That's yesterday's daily VWAP. You could do that. You could do the stop loss right under the November VWAP. Just keep it really tight there. You know, we're kind of far away already, but maybe ETH comes up to that December VWAP up there. Now, you got to be a little cautious. Look at the slope of that 5-day trend. You know what I'm saying? That's a steep 5-day trend. So this is risky, force feeding, Santa rallies, putting a a square peg in a round hole because we want our Santa rally. You know? Because what I would like to see is for this to have played out a little more. I wish we could have, you know, seen something like this. You know, something a little more organic when it comes to longing around the 5-day trend. But you don't always get that. We've seen big pumps out of declining 5-day simples before. So there probably is like that long trade here on ETH up to that. Just don't be surprised if that gets stopped out. You'll literally know why. It's because you're in a 5-day downtrend there. So definitely not a day to crank your risk up to 11, especially end of the year. You don't want to like give away money that you made this year. So just recognize that I believe that any Santa rally plays are like kind of high risk. You're pumping up out of declining 5-day downtrends. XRP, looking at XRP, closing out the big four here. Overcoming multiple days, daily VWAPs, and also overcoming the Fed VWAP. So if you're bullish on this, why not just enter along, put a stop loss under those previous days VWAPs there, or perhaps even just a tight one right under that Fed VWAP? You know what I'm saying? Just don't come crying to Groper if this comes down, because like I said, you're in a 5-day downtrend there. But, you know, look at this overall bull div here on XRP. We defend that $2 psychological level. The waves come down a little bit lower there. That's a hidden bull div. Given the bullish scenario, I don't think Ripple wants to come down and get that monthly retest. But, you know, if we end up losing all these, like, short-term VWAPs, like we fall under the Fed VWAP again and, like, multiple days VWAPs, and this just turns around, you guys will know what's up. We're probably going to start heading back down there. And it would be nice to get Ripple at like $1.50, $1.60, but we're not going to rely on that. We're going to assume that this is going to keep doing what it's doing here, climbing on top of these last few days VWAPs here, digging itself out of this 5-day downtrend, and eventually, hopefully, reclaiming that December VWAP. Now, you could wait for like a bust out of the December VWAP, and then put your stop loss behind that December VWAP. So there's levels to this shit. But that December VWAP should be good. If we do reclaim it, it should be good support for a while. All right, let me catch up on the chat here real quick. Got some of our regulars in here. Crypto Rooster, OG Blockchain, Satoshi Nakamoto, McLovin' It, Crypto Coons. Thanks everybody for joining me. Make sure you guys follow my Twitter at FloppingGroper. And you'll catch special TA that like I only post on Twitter. Like here's a post I did of Bitcoin struggling around his Trump VWAP and the Fed VWAP. And so anybody following me on Twitter knows the levels to watch. So the Twitter's real good. Market Cipher, 60% off through New Year's. Get the waves. And all the other indicators, 60% off through New Year's. And the LeapFrog VWAP tool to auto-generate all the VWAPs that you see in my analysis, 60% off too. You just got to email the email in my description there. Crypto bubbles, let's see, daily change here, let's see. Pudgy Penguin's going crazy. BitGet token, Hedera. I saw people mentioning H-bar in the chat. H-bar, kind of like a miniature Ripple, right? That's kind of like what a layman like me You mentioned H-bar, I just think it's like a baby ripple. Already getting that surge over the December anchored VWAP here. Look at H-bar here. Now this is a little bit late, but when you start getting a daily close over a monthly VWAP, you can always enter this kind of trade where you just set the stop loss behind that monthly VWAP there. You know what I'm saying? Actually, look, a little wick came down and would have wicked you out there. But either way, it's too late for that now anyways. You could enter or try to get an entry maybe halfway down this candle. Put your stop loss behind that December VWAP and just see if you can catch it. So that's the H bar. Looks like H bar is like trigger waving out here on the daily. Going kind of crazy. Let's see. Yeah, a couple of these other winning tokens here. Jasmy. Let's take a look at Jasmy. It's always hard to say whether you're in early or whether you're in late on these moves, but it's fun to pick winners. This hasn't really gotten started yet. You see how we haven't even really reclaimed that December anchored VWAP yet? 12-hour momentum creeping up. How's the daily look? Kind of a fresh. Look at this. I mean, it's come up a long ways, but this is a fresh green dot here. What if you entered a little bit of a long stop loss under these, maybe perhaps like under the November anchor there? And it's a wide stop loss now, but if this catches and you get on top of that December VWAP, that's kind of like your new stop loss level. So you could always like raise this stop loss into the green there behind that December VWAP if we can get past that. And this, I mean, it could, you know, it could shit out, could crap out on you, but as long as your risk is in check, seems like a good risk reward. Nothing I say on this channel is financial advice, by the way, but just going over my logic of stuff. But yeah, man, I'll go over some chart recommendations for you guys here. So I'm excited to go over some of these Christmas charts for you guys. Thanks for joining me. I think we should look at ICP. You got a chart recommendation in the chat for ICP. A lot of lines going on here, guys. Apologies here. You know, not only do we have the blue quarterly October 1st VWAP and the year-to-date VWAP, we're also looking at our December white monthly VWAP. And these thin little ones here, you got the Trump Election Day VWAP, as well as the December 18th Fed VWAP here. So there's a lot of anchored VWAPs on my chart right now. Looks a little bit spaghetti liney, but anybody who's been watching my streams for a couple months knows what's going on here. But just apologies in advance to anyone who's kind of newer, because it's looks a little messy right now, but I promise you there's logic here. So ICP still digging out of this declining 5-day downtrend here. It's a 5-day simple moving average. Now, we do want to see, on the overall picture, we want this to scoop up for ICP. So we're going to expect a little bit of chop, you know, as that scoops up, right? So you probably do have a long here on ICP up to like the December VWAP, like a good 12% move, a nice life-changing little move right there. But just get ready for that December VWAP resistance. There's some good VWAPs here to play stop losses behind. So like if you entered here, first I would wait for a small little bust up over the November VWAP, and I would wait for some sort of candles to close, either a 1-hour candle Just anything to close over the teal previous month's VWAP at like $11.20. That would be my signal to enter a little long here on ICP. Perhaps put my stop underneath like the previous couple days VWAPs here. And I would just try to catch this little like 2-to-1 thing up to the December VWAP before taking profits. And maybe looking to re-enter a little bit lower. Medster66 wants me to look at oil. Give me the oil ticker. Give me the ticker. And I'll take a look at it. In the meantime, Yo Watermelon wants me to look at SWE. We love SWE. We love SWE. Holding its December anchored VWAP, looking strong. I love that strong daily candle bounce on top of the December VWAP there too. Let's zoom in a little bit here. Let's do some surgery. One thing I just want to note is, like, you know, the other day, SWE experienced a very strong buyback. We came right up to here on my last stream, and we were right at this point right here. And you guys were asking, is SWE bullish? And so, you know, you pump up back over that 5-day simple, and you're back over the white December monthly anchor. That is bullish, huh? But the fact that we pumped up into a declining 5-day simple made me think, you know, maybe there's a re-entry back down at the December VWAP. And so, look, we do get that. Yes, there's a little bit of run-up because reclaiming a monthly anchor and the 5-day simple so quickly, obviously you get a little bit of move to the upside off that. But the big picture here is that 5-day downtrend needs to scoop up before anything really crazy happens on SWE. So you do get that pullback down to the December VWAP there. And this is the, like, look, this is the level to catch the bounce at too. So not only is the December VWAP the pullback target, but it's also the long entry. These little intraday VWAPs serving as a good little guide too, even if you're on like the smaller time frames. Look, you have a bust up here out of the VWAPs. Put a little long there. You put your stop loss under that candle there. You know what I'm saying? So the VWAPs are really nice little areas to put your stop loss behind. As for right now, my take on this is that that 5-day simple is still sloping up. So expect regular entries on this as this pumps up. Probably gonna, you know, do something like that on its way as it goes up like that. But right now, green dots on SWE are supercharged. So anytime you get a little green dot down here on Market Cipher B, it's probably going to play out pretty good. So yeah, SWE strong over the monthly anchor, reclaiming that 5-day trend, slaying the drone pal FOMC VWAP. Looking pretty strong, man. All right, Medster wants me to look at WTI. Let's see, WTI. Looking at an oil chart here, folks. Right off the bat, dealing with a massive downtrend. Not only a monthly downtrend, the 5-day simple moving average downtrend, the bi-monthly downtrend, quarterly downtrend. My gosh, man. This is the definition of knife catch, you know? Because there's a point in the future on crude where, you know, these VWAPs scoop up, right? And it's probably not going to happen this quickly. But, you know, at every one of these VWAPs, this is going to crash, right? And it's not until you get to like a point like here where all these VWAPs are actually sloped up for you. You see what I'm saying? That's when the longs get more certain. What's the WTI chart I should be looking at? Is it this one here? This crude oil chart here? Let me know if this is the right one. Okay. Man, this one's looking a lot better. This one's looking a lot better. So this is painting a much better picture here. So your December anchored VWAP sideways up. Waves trending up here on the daily. Weekly, a little weekly bull div here. You see the candles kind of coming down. Wave coming up. So I really like how crude oil is coming up, trending on that December anchored VWAP there. Look how it's curling the 5-day trend up here like this. You see that black line slowly curving up like that? This is looking nice, man. This is looking nice. You put a stop loss perhaps under either the December or November VWAP, the teal or the white line here. You want to probably take some profits there at that quarterly VWAP. You see previous highs. We get snagged on that line here on crude. So, especially being late to the trade here. This is your trade. It's like a kind of a shitty trade right now. But if you do break out of this larger bearish structure here, you got this much bigger move here, perhaps a retest of the year to date up here. And that is a nice trade that you might want to take. So look for this move on oil. You come up, you get an entry maybe up here. It's like strong over that quarterly VWAP. And you put your stop loss right underneath that quarterly VWAP. And you see if that holds for you. And your target would be, the thing about anchored VWAPs is you get blessed with an actual target, a level that price actually probably wants to go to. So in my opinion, probably wants to go back up to that anchored VWAP, the year-to-date purple line there. Money flow trending up there on the daily. Let me know if you guys agree. Man, I'm glad that's the right chart, not the last one we were looking at. Let's see, what else we got up here? Any other chart recommendations? Medster just wants me to look at BTC again. We could do a little refresher BTC. Now, BTC is stuck between two really important VWAPs. The Trump election day VWAP here from November 4th. That's our bottom of the range. And then the top of the range is defined by the Drone Pal Fed VWAP here from December 18th. Battling its way out of a declining 5-day downtrend, that black line there. So you can see that, around here in my VIP, I put a short out, underperforming around the monthly VWAP in a downtrend. People were getting pretty bullish up here already, but it just wasn't quite the time. So we come down here. We actually get some nice bull div. See the price going lower here on the 1 hour, but the waves actually trending up. So that's a clue of a little bottom there. Still early though, still early. It's actually not the 5-day environment for longs yet. You see this, we're fighting a downtrend right now. And so this Santa rally that we're seeing is this is a speculative high risk Santa rally. I mentioned it earlier in the stream that it's like we're almost fitting a square peg into a round hole here because we just want a certain outcome to happen. The market just wants a certain outcome to happen. It's not the most earned little rally that we're having here, but if we can break up over this Fed VWAP, I think that's really telling. I think that that implies that the Trump VWAP has won in the battle of these two VWAPs. You got the Fed VWAP and the Trump VWAP. That means the Trump VWAP wins. If we can actually hold and reclaim like the Fed VWAP and perhaps the December VWAP up here, there might be a crazy long on Bitcoin, you know, up here where you can probably put your stop under the December VWAP again and long this up. And so we want to watch for this sort of volatility in the next 24 hours. But I am a realist. I am recognizing that I'm personally not entering a Bitcoin long at this point yet, because this is still resistance and we're still in a strong downtrend. So I miss the party sometimes, but you know, when this 5-day trend scoops up like this, I'm gonna have capital to long more safely here than all the people who long here. And that may work sometimes, longing in this kind of environment. It may work today, it may work sometimes for you, but I have more long-term success waiting for that 5-day trend to actually scoop up. And rarely do I miss the boat on shit. Like typically this comes up, sure it'll come up, but it'll also come down because you're in a downtrend. And so at around and I guess around Christmas time, this will be a little bit more mature in about 24 hours. Hopefully this 5-day trend scoops up a little more and it just looks even better for the longs. But right now we're seeing the hard work being done. The long in my, or sorry, the short in my VIP that I put out, pretty much getting corrected back on here. We had a target down here at the November VWAP. We had entered at 96.8 with a stop above the white monthly VWAP there. So just to put that on the chart here, we entered at around 96.8 and our target was down there and our stop was there. So, you know, I didn't get to exit all the way right here at the bottom, but as this was coming up, I just closed it. Just because I wanted some profits. I wanted to keep some profits, so didn't quite hit the target down there. Perhaps because the Trump VWAP here is offering like a buffer for that the November monthly VWAP there. That was the short trade though, just because we were in that downtrend, you know. You don't want to be the first buyers, the first wave of buyers. It's kind of like D-Day. There's like a 130% casualty rate, like 100% of the FloppingGropers who long first die, and then 30% of the reinforcements die. So that's what happens when you long in a downtrend. Ooh, Wreckful GG wants me to look at sand. This is the VWAP situation on sand here. So sand, man, sand came down hard, man. The purple line that you see here is the year-to-date VWAP. This is the VWAP from January 1st on sand. Now you see sand was struggling around its, like underneath the year-to-date, like all year. But it giga moons past that year-to-date. And once you're like way up here in the sky, like once you're like here, do you see how it's kind of obvious? Like look what this chart looked like on the daily back here. It's obvious that we just simply need to retest the year-to-date VWAP as support, right? I mean, look at that daily overbought reading on Market Cipher. Mooning out of a year-to-date. You don't pump out of a declining year-to-date VWAP without a retest. Just future reference. It's too important of a line. So if this plays out, we see how this plays out here. We cling to life a bit, but eventually we slam back down there. And so this is the bullish retest that we really needed on sand. It needs to hold that year-to-date VWAP down there at 57 cents. Right now, we're digging our way out of the gulag, scooping the 5-day black trend. See that? We're scooping that black trend back into an uptrend here. But just remember that we are in the gulag, so as this scoops up, you know, this is resistance up in here. So maybe we come around and do some crazy shit, and then we go up. So I would say take your profits this morning, today. You know, it's scalping time. And Christmas morning might be the exciting, you know, tomorrow morning might be the exciting moves that we want on a lot of these coins. Once these 5-day trends kind of repair, we just need like another day of these curling up a little bit, and then it looks even better. And I guarantee you guys, the real big move, the real money doesn't come in until this trend is repaired. So you may have that FOMO, that fear of missing out on things. But rarely do you want to be the first or second wave on the beaches of Normandy. So this morning move here on sand probably mostly played out, but in the coming days, expect a hard retest of probably that December VWAP. I think sand could come up 20% in a very short period of time. Try to get an entry on top of perhaps the Drone Pal VWAP. See this 18th, December 18th VWAP here. I'll make it a different color just so make it yellow, make it thick. Maybe, just maybe, you get an entry down here. That would be sick if you could get a re-entry stop loss behind the year to date. You know what I'm saying? Boom. Oh, that'd be a juicer, dude. But, yeah. Now, if this 5-day trend was sloped up harder, I would be more down for like a very aggressive, you know, I would just be like gung-ho, just longing this quarterly VWAP here. You know, just basically entering there and stop loss underneath that. If we were in an established 5-day uptrend, like if we were like here, and we were getting this move, I would probably be more down to FOMO into this. But just the fact that it's still a downtrend gives me an air of caution. I'm a little bit cautious this morning. That's why I wanted to come out for you guys, because I don't want anyone freaking out or getting emotional. Big expectations for Santa Rally right now. But we just want to trust what the VWAPs are saying. Tom in the chat is asking, if I buy Market Cipher, do I get the VWAP indicator? They are different. So the VWAP indicator is like my baby. I've done anchored VWAP analysis on this channel all year, and I needed a way to sift through all these charts and do VWAP analysis. And so in my quest to create solutions for myself, I created an indicator that solves my analysis woes. Because, man, taking the drawing tool here on the left, taking this anchored VWAP tool and like manually drawing these VWAPs and shit, that was fun. But doing that on 100 charts a day made streaming a nightmare. And I burnt out on streaming. I went months without streaming because just how annoying it was doing analysis. But now this is a lot more fun. I get to go on all these charts. Like, look at GOAT. You know, I could see what GOAT's doing without having to draw all these lines. So if you want the VWAP indicator, it's 60% off, just like Market Cipher, but it is different. But it comes with its own Discord here. This is my FloppingGroper LeapFrog Discord. You get my personal moves with stonks, Bitcoin, shitcoins. Sometimes I might screw with some commodities, do some oil analysis or something in the future. But you get a little VWAP course if you do get the indicator. I've got a bunch of videos in here explaining my journey with VWAP over the years. Just every video I've ever made for VWAPs is here. And if you get that, you get it for life, as well as all future iterations of the indicator. And if you guys shoot me an email now on that, I'll retain the $200 deal on that. So if you just shoot me an email now and lock in and touch base with me, tell me your situation, I'll extend the discount on the LeapFrog thing for you. But as for this Market Cipher discount, this ho 60% off Market Cipher, this is going away on New Year's, so you have to scoop this up if you don't have it already. Yeah, got a good amount of viewers in here. Thanks for joining me, guys. Merry Christmas. Blessings to you. What an amazing year it was. Probably the greatest year of trading ever. I've never personally, I don't know if anyone else feels this way, but I've never personally felt more ingrained in my purpose and so happy to do what I do. And I've never known what my job is more than today. I've never been more proud of myself and like our community. You know, we go through ups and downs in life and stuff, but there's definitely a point in the last couple years where my eyes were not open to the amazing community that we have here at Market Cipher. We've got artists, we've got educators, traders, all sorts of people under this MC umbrella that my brother and I created. And so we're just super thankful for you guys. If you want the lifetime VIP, just shoot me an email in the description of this stream. 60% off. And let's just do some last. Do you guys have any other chart recommendations? Gold. Okay, Radio Guy wants me to look at gold. I don't know what gold ticker you want me to look at, man, but let's see here. Gold kind of struggling around its Fed VWAP for now. Still dealing with a established downtrend here on gold, but you might get a burst out. If we can close above the Fed VWAP here, you could go for that long play. You put a long position here, stop loss under that Fed VWAP. I would probably wait for this 5-day trend to scoop up. I'm telling you guys, if you wait for this black line to be in an uptrend, gosh, your longs will get so much better. Like, in a downtrend like this, who's to say that the Fed VWAP isn't resistance and this doesn't just go to a lower low? Like, would you really be surprised if that happened? Not really. So, while that may not happen, and what's probably going to happen is this is going to just scoop to the upside, and you get this long play back up to the December anchored VWAP. Just be careful. Manan Mayta wants me to look at ETH. Let's take a look at ETH again. Let's take a look at ETH BTC. ETH BTC. Let's see here. Getting a little bounce off the Fed VWAP, scooping its 5-day trend back up. That's nice to see. Looking at the daily here. You guys see how ETH BTC, you know, it's a little ugly, but we did get a higher low. You guys see how this is precisely the scenario that I was really hoping for on ETH BTC? I really hope that Fed VWAP holds, man. Because the implications of it not holding are quite dire. Because what's at stake here is this move on ETH. You know, this is Ethereum's saving grace. This is that move up to 0.05. This is alt season. This is everything relies on ETH BTC. Love it or hate it. You know, can this money flow trending up? Can this follow through, man? Can we get what we want to see? Can we get the signs that we need to see this kind of follow through? The fact that it's taken this long is actually nice. It's nice that it's it's taken this long to kind of pull the monthly and quarterly VWAPs into a sideways posture. This gives the bulls a chance to slowly start taking the reins. And you do have this declining year to date, so that's a lot of downward pressure on the market. But if this higher low holds, then ETH BTC begins its climb. And once it breaks its December VWAP, well, this move is probably going to happen very quick, right? So, given this situation, let's look at ETH for you. We do see hope on that ETH BTC pair, and so we look at the ETH situation. I love that ETH got a strong buyback at its year to date. I ended up scooping some ETH at 3,200 here because I was not sure if this bullish pin bar that started printing, I saw this huge wick forming. I wasn't sure if that was all we were going to see, and like a year to date, getting some ETH down at year to date prices down at 3K seemed like a crazy Christmas discount to me. So while I could be wrong and this could just shit the bed, so far I'm proud of that spot buy that I did on ETH. Oh, I can live with it. I can live with it. Looks like it's overcoming some very important VWAPs here. See this yellow VWAP? This is the Fed VWAP, the Drone Pal announcement. It was strong resistance. It looks like now we're breaking out over it. Isn't that nice? Isn't that nice? Reclaiming quarterly, monthly, yearly support. Only thing that's really making me worry is that the 5-day trend could really use a scoop up here like this. So if you're trying to speculate, you know, you could put a stop loss. If we lose that Fed VWAP, get the hell out. You know what I'm saying? But maybe this is like high risk knife catch mooning up to the December VWAP up there, maybe. But I would keep it real tight. I would say if the Fed VWAP is lost, perhaps get out of that for now. Let that 5-day simple moving average trend scoop up for you. If you did want to have a wide stop loss, look at all these VWAPs supporting you. You could always put a stop loss right underneath yesterday's VWAP down there at you could kind of play this too. See, that's a pretty good risk reward right there. So a stop loss like this would be below the 5-day simple trend, below multiple days daily VWAPs, below your November VWAP. So a lot of shit would have to go wrong for this trade to stop out here. So hopefully that would play out good for you. But maybe try to get an entry at that Fed VWAP. Maybe don't FOMO in right here. Maybe we are in a downtrend, so I mean it probably is going to come down at least a little bit. Probably get an entry down there at that Fed VWAP. Someone said they don't see the email in the description. It's definitely there, but let me put it in the chat for you. All right, there you go. Make sure you guys like the stream. Richard Kowalski says, Merry Christmas, bro. Having good success with Nvidia and Tesla. Let's take a look at some stocks. Ooh, man, I gotta look at the stock market, man. I gotta look at the S&P. Nvidia scooping up its monthly anchor. I love the freshly up slopeness of that white December VWAP. Ooh, that's a juicer. Reclaiming the bi-monthly. This is the November previous month's anchor here too. We're juicing, man. We're juicing. I think that you could probably get an entry down here, potentially at the quarterly anchor. and just ride that puppy up. But I would keep it tight like that. I would keep a stop loss underneath that December monthly anchor. If we lose the December and the quarterly anchors here, just get out for now. But it depends on where you want to long this at. You could froth and FOMO in now, but you will have to deal with, you know, this declining 5-day trend, that black line there, just freshly scooping up. It may take a while for this to slowly scoop up like that. And this may be resistance up here. See how the 1 hour wave is already a little overbought here? So we may have to come down, you know, like that and do something like that, right? So be prepared for something like that. I would say the lower you can get this entry, the better. If you could get it maybe around there, keep your stop there. That's going to really help your risk reward. But Nvidia looking pretty strong right now under, I don't know. You know, the decliningness of this November VWAP, it is a little bit sideways down. So we don't see a red candle printing yet, but I would say expect a little bit of chop as that 5-day trend starts scooping up in the next 24 hours. And for Tesla, let's take a look at Tesla. Tesla looking, actually looking immensely strong. So do you guys see the strength of this 5-day uptrend here? Look at the slope of that black line. Unlike any chart we've seen today, most charts we've looked at are fighting their way out of a declining 5-day simple, but Tesla has real good backup here in ascending December VWAP and ascending 5-day simple. Longs are supercharged, so you get a nice oversold wave like this on top of December anchor support. Clearly the level to watch. No other TA matters. The anchored VWAPs are the levels of interest. That is your level to hold too. So I mean that's where you put the stop loss behind. We gotta hold the December expectations to continue to perform well. Otherwise, if we lose the December VWAP, this all starts turning sideways. Your 5-day simple will eventually turn sideways. The November anchor sideways, quarterly anchor sideways, and this, you know, we just don't want something like this to happen on Tesla, right? So keep an eye on these signals. We need to hold the December anchored VWAP there. We want to see this ascending 5-day trend just continue to keep playing out. Styan Lystat says, are your anchors free? So anchored VWAP is a free tool. Not only can you search anchored VWAP on TradingView and you see a customizable anchored VWAP thing there, you could also do it as a drawing tool. So you click this anchored VWAP tool, place these at highs and lows there, and you see how I'm placing VWAPs at any candle that I want. So anchored VWAP is free, but the tool that I use is something I designed so I can do these streams more efficiently, because you see how I'm able to sift through all these charts very quickly, and all my VWAPs are still there. If you want this tool, it's $200 right now, which is 60% off. The email is in my description. I'll invite you to my private script, and I'll get you into my the Discord that's associated with it, and a VWAP course that comes with it. But otherwise, there's nothing stopping you from doing VWAP analysis on yourself for free, or like on your own for free right now. And I think just to end this stream here, let's take a peek at the S&P. S&P getting a strong buyback, bouncing off of quarterly support here. This was the level to watch. Getting closes there, back testing as support, very strongly coming up here. You know, I'm worried for the S&P in the sense that this 5-day downtrend could be on its way down. This December VWAP is kind of sideways down, you know? So, I would actually expect this to be kind of choppy in here, you know, until that 5-day trend. Maybe there's an upward move like that in the next day or two, I don't know, or next like week or so. But I'm really watching this because there's some signs on the S&P that I'm always worried about, despite how bullish this chart is. I'm always going to be worried about this larger correction down to the previous quarter's anchored VWAP here. Quarterly jumps happen all the time. So this yellow line down here is the Q3 VWAP. This is July 1st VWAP. It generated over here. You can see on July 1st of this year, that yellow line spawned. Now, when that line spawned, we did correct down to the previous quarters, the April's anchor. Even the year-to-date, we retested. And when April spawned, we did come down to that previous quarter's anchor, the year-to-date there. So, when we got this quarter, quarter 4, I was thinking pretty much at any time this chart's looking rickety, I'm thinking, man, maybe we need to go down to that yellow anchored VWAP. And so far we have not gotten that. So far, some really good strength on top of this quarterly support here for the S&P. I guess we got to just keep going with the flow because these anchors are sloped up. But if we all of a sudden run into some VWAP resistance, you do have a downward target there generated by these anchored VWAPs. It's that previous quarter's anchored VWAP down there. Ronin Trades mentioned in the chat, slapping in a VWAP on earnings is a cheat code. Yeah, man. There's so many levels to place anchored VWAPs. Obviously, I've trained everybody to kind of look at the monthly and quarterly VWAPs and expect those big reversions back to the previous quarter's VWAP. But there's so many different VWAPs that are so important. For instance, on Bitcoin here, just hide everything. One thing I love to place VWAPs on is high volume. Anything that's high volume, there's a giant spike in volume. That's a shift in the market. And so there was a day I want to look at here. You select these volume bars and you see a day like August 4th or what was it, August 5th here on Bitcoin. You could do this on scalp timeframes or macro timeframes. This is an example of a macro timeframe. But do you see how the anchored VWAP from this insane panic sell-off day was very impactful? Like this was the VWAP that we had to form that higher low under and form this larger head and shoulders. And then once we reclaimed it, we get the bullish bounce there. And that is the start of the rally. You could even put a VWAP right on that day, the start of the rally. That's some strong support down there, and the 80K is there. So there's so many different ways to do anchored VWAPs. For many months, we had one at the yearly high, and we were looking at this VWAP here. How's Bitcoin looking around that VWAP from the yearly high back here? And once we started like trending over that, that was when we got that continued move to the upside. And anytime it was below this VWAP, we were thinking, man, maybe it needs to go down to some. There were some deeper VWAPs we were looking at. Like, one was the last year's year-to-date, man. If we had to come down here, that would have been dreadful. Thank God we did not have to dump that far. That would have been bad. But, yeah, man. That's pretty much it for me, guys. Going over short-term Santa rally action here. Still got some downtrendiness to fight through on a lot of these cryptos. But in the next 24 hours, if we can hold these levels, that 5-day trend's going to scoop up, and I think that we see some explosive moves on the cryptos. Big level to hold. The level to hold on Bitcoin before I leave you guys is definitely the Trump VWAP. You put a VWAP on November 4th. Right now, it's the Trump VWAP versus the Fed VWAP. This is the pinch right here to watch. It's the most important VWAPs in crypto right now. A break above the Fed VWAP signals a continuation of alt season. A breakdown below the Trump VWAP signals a larger correction, potentially down to either the November VWAP or this level 82K. Sounds crazy, but when a new year comes, you see a new year today VWAP is coming. It's going to appear, it's going to form right here. So a new year can be quite heavy. So don't count this out quite yet, a quarterly retest. Simply just dumping down to the previous quarter's anchored VWAPs. It's not anything out of the ordinary. So yeah, those are the signs to watch. Make sure you guys like, sub, drop a little comment, and Merry Christmas.